sweet, you woman butterly, and I get more ass than a toilet seat. 3 to the 1 from the 1 to the 3. I met a bad bitch last night.
Hey everyone, it's Lunatic here. Yeah, it's been quite a while since my last commentary, but look, I have an absolutely good excuse this time. This kind of goes back a while, so long story. Back in December, I managed to gain entry into the Alt-CC reunion in 2018, where I got to witness the amazing bitch fight between Just a Robot and Darkseid. You're probably wondering how I got in, right? Well, I don't know why either, but everyone in the place just kept calling me Ski Allen for some reason, and I just kind of rolled with it. I never actually knew the guy. He left the CC around the same time I joined, but apparently it has to do with Ryuko Matsui. Well, anyways, thanks to this brilliant disguise, last December I ended up becoming a member of the Alt-CC, and I've been busy juggling school, the Alt-CC, the Cloud Palace, and Pre-Lunatic's Love Live addiction since then. Let me just say, it ain't fun, kiddos. Last May, though, I ended up receiving a notice from the man himself, Darkseid, giving me full control over the Alt-CC because he's really busy with, well, whatever edgelords be doing. Me and Pre weren't exactly sure what to do with the group that caused 2017's biggest drama, but I realized something. For the sake of plot, I hate this community now. And so on June 1st, I finally decided that I was seceding from the commentary community to reform the Alt-CC. Me and Pre were given a list of recommended members for this new Alt-CC, but... who the fuck is Chambers of My Heart? Pre, that's the blacklist. You could tell because whoever they are, they're the only one on it. Can't blame me though, it's not hard to mix them up because I didn't actually think he'd expect us to get more than one member. We ended up searching through all of the names listed, but Pre shot out the majority of them because either he thought they'd be anti-Love Live or the names were hard to read. However, there was one we ended up taking a gander at, this guy named SoCyno, who I recalled had actually been covered by Doodle recently. Makes sense to add him to the group. Most members of the Alt had a lot of beef against Doodle, didn't they? But aren't you a proven Doodle Tones white knight? People also say I'm a good commentator. People could say anything whether it's true or not. Because Pre didn't want another quote-unquote loser being associated with him, he threw this video at me, told me to watch it, and, well, I don't really know what to do next. I guess I better take a look at it. Oh boy. So to give you an idea what's happening today, I'm covering a YouTube commentator named SoCyno. Our story begins back in February when he did a rant on the slideshow commentary community, aka the commentary community I'm affiliated with. It was poorly done, though I really don't have much to say on it aside from that. Because of that, it was eventually covered by the commentators Space Crew of 5, Slayer, and the most important one, and the one we'll be seeing throughout the majority of this video, Doodle Tones. You know, I find it quite backwards how my first act as Alt-CC leader is defending Doodle Tones. I don't know about this one, Chief. See, Cyno made a response to all three of them, and I'll be covering that video. That being said, though, before we start the video in formal, though, there is one thing I want to bring up beforehand. In Cyno's rant against the CC, one of his major arguments is that he believes that when commentators make long videos, they don't have to be. Just their points are unnecessarily long, they nitpick too much, and they drag out their videos. This is why there's a timer at the bottom of the screen for that section, because he told Doodle that he'd respond to her 24-minute response within a 5-minute time frame. I won't go into depth about everything wrong with this until after we finish Doodle's section because you'll get the bigger picture by the end of it, but there is one thing I know I have to bring up right away. One of Cyno's main solutions for the video length isn't just covering what he believes to be major points, but also cutting down Doodle's video heavily to the point's most basic form. This is to the point where he constantly removes his CC rant from the video. While not everything from Doodle's video is tightly wounded to Cyno's CC rant, I felt it would be best to add in his CC rant myself, as it gives the viewer a better understanding of the situation. I'll also be keeping in much more of Doodle's points because this also helps give the audience a better understanding of the points. I just hope Cyno realizes that by trying to be a commentating speedrunner, he's also potentially confusing his audience. Seriously, saying your speedy style is better than slideshow commentaries is like saying New Coke is better than Coca-Cola. Whatever, with all that being said, Las uns anfangen.
First up is Doodle Tones, and I already have some general problems with their video.
Don't listen to the voices in your head.
The video is too long, and my video didn't really require this much discussion in the first place.
I find that very hard to believe. I mean, look, you may not think there was much to be discussed, but it didn't occur to you that you made a 7-minute rant on a whole community that tackles the way we edit our videos, the structure of our videos, the length of videos, 1 and 2 shots, the idea of disowning videos. I kind of think there would be a lot to discuss on why these things are common in the community, and why some of these things aren't as bad or stupid as you make them out to be. Just saying, Baka.
I should be a bit transparent with you. This channel isn't my first. I had a channel at first where I did the exact same thing that I'm talking about today. I'm only mentioning this to you because when I say things from experience, these are really from experience. Don't bother looking for the channel as it's still up with everything privated, and don't bother looking for some re-uploads because they don't exist.
Fun. So we just gotta take the idea that you know what you're talking about through experience at face value with no idea whether or not you actually did. So without examples or signs that you have done anything like this in the past, as a passerby, I cannot know that you're not just shouting from your ass.
Some people don't want to be associated with their old content. I certainly don't, and either way, it didn't really matter in the first place, which is something that you could have said.
Wow, for the first time, I'm gonna have to rebunk somebody in a commentary. Look, the way you made it sound in your initial CC rant kinda made it sound important, because later on in the video, you bring up how because you've edited both slideshow commentaries and gameplay commentaries, you can safely say that gameplay commentaries take lots of more effort than slideshow commentaries. You also bring this up in this video, by the way, specifically in the groove section, and I think you do it somewhere else. This line doesn't matter how exactly. That being said, even if you don't stand behind, loathe, and wish fires of hell upon your slideshow commentaries, that doesn't mean a damn thing against Doodle's point at all, which was that she doesn't believe she can take you for granted without proof that all your videos exist. I understand that you don't want to show your old stuff, and honestly I don't care if you don't because it's your channel. I'm willing to buy into the idea that you were a slideshow commentary because I'm a gullible bitch, but this ends up being nothing more than a continuation of your initial point in your CC rant, and as such, an excuse against Doodle's point.
Now, when you hear the name slideshow commentary, what do you think of? If you thought of looking at still images over maybe animated, maybe not background sometimes, while someone essentially pauses the video and talks, congratulations, you've just guessed how 99% of these videos play out.
Go fuck yourself.
Said images are usually from TV shows, movies, and disgusting. Now, if that already hasn't made your penis go completely flaccid, the fact that all these videos are structured the exact same way certainly will.
I'm trying to determine which angle to take this as we have two fairly standard common talking points against the community that both very much assume things. I guess I can start with the avatar complaint, as that one seems to be the free space on the generic CC rant bingo board. This time the complaint seems to be without any further elaboration as to what makes the standard not good outside of the commonality of it all. There's a slight further reaction towards anime avatars, because of course there is, but nothing concrete as to why this is a problem at all.
Also, the anime avatar thing was a joke. From now on, I will leave this big marker on my screen every time I make a joke, because I clearly can't.
Except she wasn't taking your anime joke seriously at all, in fact. Get your hand off of your it's a joke trigger for a minute and let me explain. Doodle overall is questioning what your CC rant was doing with bringing up slideshow commentating avatars. When she mentioned your little joke about anime avatars, she was simply acknowledging that you reacted more here. For one, her saying a slightly bigger reaction doesn't automatically mean she's assuming you're a serious nigga, as a joke can be just as much of a reaction. On top of jokes potentially having points to them, I hope you didn't forget that.
That aside though, I don't quite understand what the problem of the common format is. Like, oh no, a community of people who share a common video style. Time to shut this shit down for good, oh no guys. Like, this is legit a non-issue that I'm seeing rear its ugly head more and more frequently that I just don't get. Like, this is something that is typical of any community ever. Your buddy Jazzio uploads stream archives where he streamed himself playing a game with a face cam in the corner, very akin to any Let's Play that got popular in the early 2010s. Except Panda is just doing a story time with some gameplay playing in the background. Gee, never seen that done before. Oh, and don't even get me started on Red Fox Com's Diet Pyrocynical. Let's talk about some drama news for Click style that we even still see today.
Bold of you to assume that I don't have problems with their content and that I'm not just friends with them. You really decided to go off on the rest of them just because they're in my channel box? Dang, these are some hard-hitting arguments, Doodle.
You know, for someone who was annoyed at Doodle for sounding oddly bitchy,
No offense, but you came off as weirdly bitchy.
you sound pretty bitchy yourself, you know that, right? I'm not saying I actually care about being bitchy. Hell, I'm bitchy myself. You're just gonna have to deal with that, though.
Also, you're really trying to compare Let's Plays to commentary. Okay, Doodle, sure. Xpanda also stopped uploading, so that's automatically invalid right there.
Hey, Pri, I think your theme song's playing.
Fuck you.
That out of the way, boy, if you fucking don't. Cyno, you're... I don't want to call you dumb, but you're kind of making it hard for me not to do so. I'll just call you 2018 Slayer. That okay with you? Alright. So let me start from the top. First off, Doodle was not comparing Let's Players and commentators. She was simply arguing the idea that the slideshow CC is at fault for having a common structure within the videos in it. At that, just because you potentially have issues with your channel tab peeps having similar styles doesn't mean anything against Doodle's point, as she was simply bringing up how the common format is typical to really any community. Your point would only work if she was trying to say you had an obvious double standards, which guess what? She wasn't. I understand that the tail end of this interjection Doodle does cite,
But this is somehow a problem with the way we in the community do things because...
but I feel this could be just her questioning what the problem here overall is, because at the end of the day, she was just fuming over how you really didn't seem to give a true reason why this was an issue, or so she thought, since apparently you did explain it just later. All I can say for this interjection overall was, well, there was an attempt. Also, just because this ex-panda fellow stopped uploading wouldn't mean Doodle can't use him as an example. I mean this both in a scenario where she's trying to claim you're okay with other styles, and where she's just saying common formats are, well, common. I mean, unless you're trying to say he stopped uploading because he didn't like having a format similar to others, which I doubt since you didn't actually mention it all without a trace of a hint. Okay, I thought there was an attempt within this interjection, but it turns out you tried just as hard as I generally do, which, no, does not equate an attempt, it just means you did nothing and cried for 4 hours.
Hell, you, Cyno, aren't very much different in your approach to videos either, considering I've had quite the history with people such as yourself in that style of format you're using.
Oh, I get it! Because I look and make content that could remotely be considered Leafy-like.
Bro, you stupid. Like, okay. Basically, what you're doing is reacting as if Doodle has compared you to Leafy. However, you don't seem to realize that she did not in fact compare you to Leafy. Leafy was not brought up or implied, so I honestly don't understand where you're getting this. I figured this is actually because of the thumbnail Doodle showed, which does have a person in the thumbnail who could be mistaken for Leafy, but at the end of the day, this doesn't excuse anything. It just shows you have clearly extended your hands over absolutely nothing like a clown. I mean, maybe you're trying to imply that maybe Doodle is comparing you to Leafy by proxy, but if so, you really don't do a good job explaining that. Seriously, I'm having a hard time understanding you, Leafy. Also, your stupid caption prior to making your point is, well, stupid, because you make it painfully clear you're paying no mind to anything as Doodle is defending the usage of similar styles. So while yes, she's by proxy bringing up how you have a similar style to Rake and Rant and others because of gameplay commentary, unlike you, she doesn't mind the fact that she's doing a gameplay commentary. Could you kindly pay attention, Cyno, for maybe like one more interjection?
Well, I'm sorry that I haven't perfected the art of calling to my dad!
Well, Yukine seems to be able to do it just fine.
They see me rolling.
I think it's Cyno taking an aspect of the CC and plastering it literally everywhere, while at the same time acknowledging the outliers to his complaint. Like he showed Mills Kohai, who instead of using an anime avatar, heaven forbid, used an original character.
That wasn't the point, though.
How though? Oh? No explanation? Just gonna leave that there? Just gonna leave me in the dark like this? Like seriously, the reason is really not as obvious as you make it out to be, Cyno. Look, if we're going nowhere, can I just go home? I mean, I actually am home, but still.
Here's the average slideshow commentary, piece by piece. Minute or two long skit. Hey, I'm Killua. You had fun on your birthday?
Yeah, I did. Why did you ask?
Well, I was planning on ruining it when I realized that this video existed. 20-second robot intro. Thankfully, someone realized the intro should be short recently, so take this one with a grain of salt. Them talking about what caused them to make the video or views behind the video, click the video, then talking, repeat this 10 to 1,000 times, final thoughts, end.
These rant-style commentaries all have the same basic format where they take some B-roll, be it live-action gameplay or still images, they segment their videos into separate parts for structure, where they talk very briefly about smaller talking points to whatever topic they please, repeat as many times as needed, have some low-fire vaporwave aesthetic scattered throughout the video, end. Come on, Cyno, you're making this too easy.
My examples are far more general that could be found in any commentary video, and yet you straight up pick on Leafy's format and compared it to mine. We are not the same.
Doubt. Also, apparently your issues with the CC are general and can be found in a lot of commentaries. I'll get to the general issue thing later, but at the same time, Doodle was talking about these rant commentary styled videos, implying she wasn't just comparing you to Leafy, she was comparing the overall rant commentary style that you do, that Leafy also potentially happened to do. You do realize that an entire community spawned around this style. I'm not sure if Leafy created it or something, but the rant gameplay commentary trend is a big thing. Also, for a guy who's soon to raise about how they aren't Leafy, a whole lot of not explaining why they shouldn't be compared or reasons why you're different. My videos aren't like Leafy, but Baka.
this is almost every slideshow commentary. My problem isn't the overuse of the style, even though that is kind of a fucking issue. My problem is the style as a whole is almost never interesting to look at. I find it hilarious how when commentators decide to branch out, they get literally nowhere because their editing knowledge consists of dropping a JPEG from Google Images into a single track in Vegas. Say what you want about the gameplay commentary style, but I make an attempt to make the videos visually appealing. I color correct the gameplay, I add in visual jokes, and I show the things that I'm reading off of on screen. This, with my personal experience of editing both types of videos, is far more effort and way more visually appealing than downloading a video and changing an image every sentence on a background.
Now, here's where my aforementioned skepticism comes into the idea that you've done slideshow style before, because, and here's a crazy idea, you can do shit like that in slideshow format. In fact, people do. While not everyone, and I can concede the notion that some of us do get a little lazy with our production, this isn't actually that common of a thing to happen. In fact, I'd argue, especially with co-ops, intro skits, and intro cards especially, there's often a hefty amount of keyframing and effects that people can and do put into their videos to give some form of visual stimulation. To say that literally all we do is drag and drop pictures with no extra effort is a gross overgeneralization that shows to me you didn't actually have any of the experience you say you have. Or if you do, you genuinely did not want to give the slightest amount of fucks into your own production, and in which case I can only say the projection is rather unfortunate.
I did put genuine effort into my time doing slideshow commentary. And yes, it was that fucking easy.
Ice and salt. But ignoring that, this interjection has quite a lot of shit to tear down, so we'll just have to take this one step at a time. So from the beginning,
I did put genuine effort into my time doing slideshow commentary. And yes, it was that fucking easy.
Look, considering we have no proof of this, you could be saying this, but you could have just put as much effort in as Halo fan for all I know or care. Didn't you say the fact that you made these videos before and private them didn't matter? Because the fact that you're using this against Doodle really isn't proving that right. Nice, Sue.
And no, from a large selection of slideshow commentaries I had watched from many different users, I didn't see very many of those outliers.
Doubt. But seriously, who exactly are these commentators you watch? I mean, you don't really mention anyone. You just say they exist and you watch them. So like I mentioned earlier, I'm supposed to take this for granted when you could easily be lying between your teeth.
And considering keyframing to be a heavy thing to do, okay, Doodle.
Oh, so I see you have no intention of actually debunking Doodle here other than scoffing it off. I assume that's your way of saying it speaks for itself, but not only do I think that doesn't work, the idea of keyframing not being heavy, well, it depends. On one hand, if you're moving an image across the screen, which is pretty much all you do when it comes to keyframing in your videos, yeah, it isn't that hard. But there are a large number of commentators out there who display usage of more complex keyframing than that to generally have their avatars imitate movement, either for comedic value or other reasons. TLDR, either way, this doesn't actually debunk Doodle at the end of the day, elaboration or not.
It actually seems pretty peaceful out here.
Okay, so we can't have you expand most of your empty points or show the first degree when you probably should have, but we can have a 10-second intermission. Nice to know where your priorities are, Cyno. Anyways, in the next portion, Cyno makes a decent point against Doodle against the fact that some commentaries like 1 or 2 shots can be relegated to comments, also pointing out how commentators should just sum up their points if they were to comment them instead of tossing their scripts at him, though considering this is Cyno, I'm probably making this sound a lot better than he made it out to be. The reason I'm summing this up is because what is stated after.
Won't lie that the Fox Goodman video was pointless. I'll bite the bullet on that and the comment remark to some extent.
Ohio portion of a video that makes literally no sense because it's casually brought up and passed through. Long story short, Doodle makes a point against Cyno's claims that these videos can be relegated to comments, and brings up how she can use this against Cyno's video against Fox Goodman, and she also brought up how some people tend to hide and or delete comments, which could make commentaries more necessary. What happened was that Cyno conceded to these points, admitting Doodle was in the right. See, I had to watch Doodle's video to know all of this, because Cyno seriously thinks cutting down the video to a single cell gives anyone an understanding of what's happening. I figured that Cyno could have done what I've been doing and simply explain what's happening here, which you could say he did, but the way he did it was just poor because within his explanation he left out explanatory context on why he was mentioning the Fox Good video and the comments. Again, you're making some children confused over here. Anyways, before we head into the next portion, I thought I'd play anti-Cyno and, you know, actually explain what's coming up next so I don't have to show you stuff that would just drag out my video. The last major thing we see Cyno complain about in his first CC rant are commentary groups, which leads to, well, this section.
One last thing before I close this video off. There are some groups who will just let fucking anyone in. Doesn't that just go against the point of a group by letting in anyone? A group is supposed to be like a VIP type of thing, like the Third Reich. But there's shit like the Cloud Palace with fucking 50 members.
Actually, currently as of this video, 39, but details. I mean, the Cloud Palace was a joke group to begin with, but since I don't get enough chances to talk about the damn thing, let's tackle this point, shall we? I figure it'll clear the air at least a little bit. Believe it or not, we don't actually just go around with the door open and allowing anyone who wants to join to do so. There's a poll thrusted into the group to allow people to vote for or against a new member getting in that's left there for like an entire month before it's decided. Yeah, we do have more members than like any other group, and I'll even fully admit the problems that come with that. But as far as it being a VIP exclusionary thing, it still kinda is. And while the bar is rather low, it doesn't entirely defeat the purpose by the idea that you give here.
Still does, because quote-unquote, the bar is pretty low.
There is just so little to cover, but so much I hate about this interjection. Like for what, this is another poorly elaborated point, and because of that, it feels a little disconnected from the full argument. Looking at it a little harder though, this is clearly a rushed and poorly thought out interjection, which would make sense considering you're trying to make this around 5 minutes, so... Look, in your initial CC rant, you claim that the Cloud Palace lets anyone in. While it could potentially be hyperbole, you played this straight enough for it to end up in a straight pride parade, and which is why Doodle decided to explain how the Cloud Palace does things, so while the bar is still low, we technically didn't let anyone in. That being said, you bringing up how the bar is low doesn't debunk Doodle because your CC rant was trying to claim that the Cloud Palace lets literally anyone in, which supposedly went against the idea that commentary groups are supposed to be a VAP type group. The only way this could work is if you were just using hyperbole, and you intended to say that the group shouldn't have as many members as it does, which I mean, yes, you do say, but it's not a point, it's simply an add-on to the fact that the group apparently lets anyone in. Basically, your arguments are seriously lacking here.
Hey, I'm totally not recording this part later. Another trend I'd like to comment on is adding disowned to your videos, which basically says, I do not stand by this video anymore, so please do not attack it. That's stupid.
Gotta love that tasty elaboration he doesn't provide. Come on, man, you're starving the village. On a more serious note, why is it dumb to provide a useful marker that shows that your ideals on a video or topic has changed and not treat it like it's still relevant?
You can still be criticized for shit you've done in the past no matter what. I don't stand by the Fox Goodman video, and yet I'm still biting the bullet for it.
Cyno, you just completely ignored Doodle right here. Here's a list of things you need to know real quick. While it's good that you at least gave an explanation, the fact that this wasn't in your initial CC rant, which is why Doodle was questioning you in this interjection, is not looking good on your end. The disown label is not used to say not to criticize our video, just that we commentators who disown the video personally don't stand by the video, so keep that in mind when going about criticizing it. You might reply by saying that this is also stupid, but trust me, imagine if you said some things that you really don't stand by, and you just want people who argue the video to know that this doesn't represent you. Isn't that right, 2018 me, and saying insulting a person's country isn't a big deal? Sometimes us commentators are discouraged from hitting commentaries because they're disowned. However, it's not necessarily a bad thing to cover one. The only case I could really get behind someone telling someone not to hit a disowned video is if there's a chance it'll kick off a fucking community world war, or their target is really feeling shitty about the video and depressed about that or other things.
So let's take a look at how long this was.
Ooh, 5.5 minutes.
Let's just round that up to 6, by the way. And let's throw that into the calculations there for a second. 24 minutes divided by 6 equals 4. So basically, my video is 4 times shorter than yours, and it's still addressed every single point. So basically, your 24-minute execution of this style is completely pointless. Congratulations.
More than that, you didn't show as much context as necessary, which could potentially lead to audience confusion as you leave out a lot of the 0th degree, plus the parts that could give the audience an idea exactly what Doodle was arguing against. Most of your arguments lacked any elaboration, and are you just saying, nuh-uh, or I disagree before you pull a I don't feel so good and not elaborate on how so. Sometimes this worked, but other times it didn't. Most of the times you wanted to elaborate, you simply showed it through text, which saves you time from explaining it in the video yourself. You don't argue Doodle's sections where she talks about how she feels structure is necessary, your lack of elaboration on what makes a nitpick, when she talks about degree markers, when she tells you off on why Fox and Bop don't make videos anymore, when she tells you there's nothing wrong with commentary groups being pointless, and who knows, a few other things I might have missed. Considering you don't give the audience any clue on what makes a point major, I figure these are all fair game on major points since Doodle did spend a lot of time on these arguments. Whether or not these may be right, I don't care. Just saying you actually covered all the major arguments is kind of a lie on your end. At the end of the day, really you only argue the things that you could actually argue, which isn't a flaw, just don't lie to me like this. This video is you right now.
Did it, Patrick! We saved the city!
Legit, you only made this video this short because you're rushing everything, so try again. Whew. That being said, we aren't exactly done yet. After this, Cyno covers Slayer's video, and he does a somewhat decent job there, with the exception being a point where he just says no in response to Slayer, and when he contradicts himself towards the end because Cyno's cool like this. Looking over it, yeah, Slayer's video wasn't that good to begin with though, so yeah. I'll also be skipping Space Guru's section because he does a somewhat decent job there too. I covered that video in my last video though, so we already know that sucks and I overall just don't care. Finally, this leads up to the final section, the comments section. I won't be covering all of them because they're just harmless comments, but Cyno does add a few details in the rants, most of which are, well...
Correct me if I'm wrong, I said that's a thing, I didn't say that's a thing now.
I mentioned commentary groups momentarily. Yeah. That's a thing now.
There was an attempt.
I love this comment.
Oh, don't fucking pretend I didn't just show you Doodle's video. Seriously, do I have to re-show you Doodle's entire video because she addressed pretty much everything that she wasn't confused over, thanks to your lack of elaboration?
Typical CC rant. thinks there's only one way to do something based on nearest right-wing senpai. Be it Jar, Medicare, Rags, Leafy Cynicals, or whomever their identity is attached to. I would check to see if it's such a public and that he subbed any of the above, but Cyno doesn't deserve the fucking clicks. Can someone verify the usual suspects of whom he's bashing his arbitrary rules on? Basing his arbitrary rules on? Cyno subs include Easy Escape, The Right Opinion, H3, Turkey Comment, iDubbbz. Funny enough, he's also subbed to CinemaSins, even though he indirectly smack talks CinemaSins. Still fits the bill. So answer me this: what does this have to do with the video at all? And like, how is this devaluing my point? How is it fucking tearing down everything? Tearing down everything that I made that video for?
Ma'am, this is a Wendy's. Whoever this guy is, she is not trying to argue you or anything. They're just saying that you fit the supposed stereotypical CC rant-making bill where you have all these traits. Whew. And with that, this video is finally complete. And what can I say other than yikes? For the third video in a row, I found something I badly want to put down as my least favorite commentary of the year so far. This video plus your CC rant if you want to have fun just fit the bill for those unlikable YouTube videos for me. You ended up getting really defensive over stupid shit like comments simply talking about you, not even trying to argue or anything, or when Doodle gave a line that could be in little ways be taken as saying you're a Leafy clone. You rushed through much of Doodle's video without giving much thought into your arguments, instead choosing to elaborate very little so you can make your video 5 minutes. Cutting down her video to its most basic form didn't help at all, and really at the end of the day, the idea that your style is proof that commentators nitpick and elongate their video is simply a joke in my eyes. And look, being an asshole in your commentary isn't a big deal at the end of the day, but the way you went about doing it made you look more salty than anything, which combined with your poor points made you almost laughable in my eyes, no offense, but still. I found most of your points honestly quite unfounded and subjective, which while in itself not a problem, you constantly try pushing them forward with objective reasoning throughout the video, and the way you did that honestly really irked me. Again, yeah, your video does have some good points, but I wouldn't say this or your previous rant are good critiques against the commentary community. Like seriously, this community has its issues, and someday I'd love to address them in a more formal video, but neither of Cyno's videos really even gave off any good critiques in my eyes. With that though, I'm done. And the final thoughts.
So I take Cyno getting into this group as a nada?
Absolutely not. If we're gonna try and look like a big deal, we're gonna need a member who to the very least sounds like they know what they're talking about.
Well, the Alt CC2 can survive with just 2 members for a while, can we not? We have bigger things to attend to, don't we?
Like, what?
Want to actually watch Love Live Sunshine with me this time?
I'm telling you, you need to watch literally anything else. I don't think Love Live is healthy for you anymore.
Oh, don't give me that crap. Mr. ReZero is my favorite anime.
Don't give me that crap. Mr. Umi is best girl. Can't be saying that when Nico is literally right here.
Forget it. I have better things to do anyways.
Watch us somehow go better than the actual Alt CC.